Hello, you wonderful creations out there. It is I, Supreme Me, once again with another video, and thank you for tuning on in here to my video game reviews. If you like it, please subscribe, like. If you don't like it, dislike, let me know something in the comments below. I would appreciate it. Now, moving on to Persona 5 Royal. This game is a beast of a game, but not a beast of a game in how I would like it. Since I've mentioned it, I'm going to get into the negative first. Now, I have been known, you wonderful creations out there, to be very patient with RPGs and the things that they do, such as fetch quests. If you're going to have fetch quests, make them important. If the fetch quest is not important, that just doesn't feel good. It doesn't make me want to play it. It feels like a waste of time and a chore. Second, okay, you need to make sure that you don't repeat the same bosses over and over again. So say there was a boss. There were multiple bosses throughout the game. And now toward the end of the game, before I fight the big bad boss, I've got to fight every single one of those bosses again in succession. That is annoying. Depending on how it's done, it can be cool. It can be cool now, but depending on how it's done, that can just be an absolute chore and a bore. And then lastly, the dialogue, the talking. Try to say what you need to say without as much dialogue and talking and text as possible. Because what you have with Persona 5 Royal ends up being a talk fest. It's not a visual novel, but it might as well be with how much talking there is. I mean, dialogue upon dialogue upon dialogue upon dialogue, talking upon talking. My goodness. And so I'm going to explain a little bit of that and get that out of the way before I talk about the wonderful things about the game. The game is a great RPG experience, but this is what kills it for me and why I will probably never play another Persona game ever again. I started Persona 4 Golden, and I was immediately turned off about all of the talking. I got to the first dungeon. I'm in the first dungeon now, but I tell you, as soon as I found a save, I just saved it, and I just turned it off. Because I felt it's going to be just like Persona 5 Royal, but worse. So, here is the thing about the talking. There's something you need to go do. So you do the thing that you need to go do, or you're going to do it. You talk about what you're going to go do. Then there's exposition on the talking. And on top of the exposition on the talking about going to go do what you're going to do, every one of the party members has to put in their own 2 cents. And so it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes about everything that you do. You can't just simply do it, get it done, and move on to the next thing. There's just talking, 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 and more talking about the talking that you just talked. On top of that, you have to do social things, spend time with people, and go eat ramen, and go to stores and buy stuff and raise confidant ranks, which in the end of the day will help you on the game, which is incredible. Just gotta make sure you do all of them, but that just takes so much time. The confidants is something that is very important that you do when you can do it. I'll admit. Everything else is to raise bonds with different people, which will do better things in battle. It's all geared toward working together, and then make it to where you have to do everything. All these little parts make up the whole. It's ingenious game design, but the amount of talking and text that surrounds it is absolutely mind-boggling, and I never want to have that experience again. I finally beat this game after buying it years ago. That's just how many times I put it down and got discouraged from playing it because of that. It's too much talking. Too much talking. I despise it. Wonderful creations out there. I hate it. You beautiful creations out there. I cannot deal with that. I feel like I'm wasting my time, and I want to just be battling, getting experience points, and leveling up. That's what I want to do. Everything else is nonsense and a waste of time, and I just didn't like it at all. Now, since I've got the bad stuff out of the way, let's put over to the good stuff. Combat is wonderful. This is why I like Shin Megami Tensei 5 or Shin Megami Tensei over the Persona series, because at least I know in Shin Megami Tensei there is not going to be any BS talking. There's going to be story, but it's going to be very little. It's all about combat driven, getting the personas and doing what you got to do to get stronger. That's what I like. That's what I need in my RPGs. More combat, more getting to the point and getting things done. Another video game that I will constantly praise over and over is Dragon Quest XI-S. If you haven't played it, please do. That game, okay, is the perfect balance of story, dialogue, and combat for me. For me, it never feels at all like I'm wasting time or it's chore. It feels like a chore or it's annoying. It's perfect. So, Persona 5's combat is amazing because it's based off of Shin Megami Tensei's combat, which is also amazing. Shin Megami Tensei 5 was awesome. Matter of fact, I'll probably do a review on that because I beat that a long time ago, and I just want to make sure I remember this stuff before I talk about it. But Persona 5's combat is amazing. It's wonderful. You can even get to the point, if your confidant rank is high with a certain character, you can switch characters out on the fly anytime. And it's just all about mastering the personas, leveling up as much as you can, so by the end of the game, you can beat that last boss. There's several endings in the game. I got the best ending overall. Of course, there's other ways you can do it. I don't want to blow anything. No spoilers here. But it is amazing. If you like video games, RPGs, my friends, where they talk a lot, you will love Persona. Maybe you like the social aspect. Maybe you like to see dialogue and text upon text upon text. Maybe you have that kind of time to where you can get that done and beat that in like a few days or something like that. But for me, it got to the point where I already got the gist of what was going on. I didn't need to hear it repeated again, and I skipped a lot of the talking. So yeah, you walk around, you do a lot of things outside of the battle areas in the normal, Japan area, and then you would go back into those places, and of course once you defeat the boss, you can't go back to those places again. So it's all about doing the calling card and doing all this, and everything is just structured, and the calendar system is another thing that I don't like. That's something that I'm not a fan of, and that's the reason why I have not beat Fire Emblem Three Houses yet, because they do it on Fire Emblem Three Houses as well. It was Nintendo's answer to, Persona 5, Persona 5's gameplay, right? So you gotta do calendar system, you can only get so much done in a day, and if you don't do it, oh well, too late, you gotta wait till the next day, stuff like that. It's like, no, I like my games to be more open. I do not care for the restriction. The restrictions, I have enough restrictions in my real life, you know what I mean? As I'm Supreme Me, I have no restrictions, but the man who created me in his love for video games says things like that. He's got restrictions. He's a normal man. He's a wonderful creation out there. He's got to do things day to day. He's got to work. He's got to do this at this time of the day. He's got to do this at that time of the day. He's not free to do as he will. He's not like me, Supreme Me, who is free to do what I will. So, in other words, I don't want to play a game like that. And I don't think he does either. I don't want to delve in a game like that. It's restrictive. It's not free, and it's just terrible. Overall, if I had to give Persona 5 Royale a rating, I would say buy, but just beware of the talking and dialogue. There is lots of it. Too much of it. Absurd amounts of it. I'm going to tell you right now, I played that game and I beat it in 90 hours and something minutes. 90 hours and something minutes on Xbox One X. I got the Persona 5 Royale on Game Pass because I already had bought the original one on PS4 Pro and I did not want to buy it again. So that's how I completed it on Game Pass. And it took me 90 hours and something minutes to do it, and I skipped a lot of the dialogue. I'm going to let you know, if you read every bit of dialogue and you look at every cutscene and you listen to everything that they're going to say, you're going to probably add a considerable amount of hours to that. That's how much talking it is. You're probably going to add that 90 hours and 30 minutes if I would have read everything and looked at everything and would have probably taken me about 150 to 180 hours or something like that. Or maybe, let's tone it down a little bit, 140 to 160 hours. Something like that. It's just too much on the reading side, on the text side. And I know I focused on that way too much, but I just want to let you know. it's a buy, but beware of that. Or you can get it on Game Pass and not have to pay a darn thing. But you should be supporting the games and the devs, the people who make this. Because, hey, if you don't support them, they won't have enough money to take care of themselves and then plan to make another game, right? And then, you want to buy the next game. So I always recommend buy it. The only reason I got it on Game Pass is because I already bought it on PS4 Pro. So don't just go Game Pass willy-nilly. You gotta make sure you support the gaming devs. But Persona 5 Royale, it is what it is. I liked it. The characters were cool. Joker is very well dressed. He's he's an almost silent protagonist. He usually doesn't talk, and because everybody else talks so much, I can understand why. He's gonna just be silent and say very little just to get the point across, and because everybody else is talking way too much. So that kind of makes sense. It's got its Shin Megami Tensei vibes where you just can't trust anybody. Your characters are put in positions and going through things to where they can only help themselves. They really can't trust in anyone else, but they try to help people. But the police, the teachers, the adults kind of are just, doing their thing, doing the adult stuff, doing their jobs, whatever, and they don't really care for them too much. That's the attitude it is. Shin Megami Tensei has the attitude where you can't trust in the good, you can't trust in the evil, all these things are fighting and you're just caught in the mix, so you're on your own side. I can understand Shin Megami Tensei 5 a little bit more than Persona 5's, it's like you're phantom thieves, you're superheroes, you're trying to help people, but you're thieves. It would be nice if you wouldn't call themselves thieves, but they're teenagers, they gotta be cool, so I guess that's the cool thing to do, to be a bunch of rebels. But real life is not Persona 5. Real life is not Star Wars. If only it was, but it is not. There's authorities and there's things put in place that you gotta listen to, or else you're just going to bring harm on yourself. And it's not a fantasy video game, but for what Persona 5 is, I know a lot of work has been put into it, and I really applaud them for what they did, especially, yes, the music. This is probably Persona 5's strongest point. You have the gameplay and the music are probably tied for me. And when I mean gameplay, I mean battles. I mean the combat. I don't mean that other social bullcrap where you're walking around in Japan and eating ramen and doing all that stuff. Even though it's a part of it and it's necessary, you have to go shopping to get things out there, and you have to talk to people to raise confidant ranks, which will help you in battle, so I've already talked about that. But in the end of the day, wonderful creations out there, the music and the battling take high priority. The music is amazing. I like that music so much, I bought that thing on iTunes. It is incredible. Yes, but just be aware. If you're going to get in Persona 5, be aware of the time sink. It is a massive time sink, and you have to be prepared for it. Because if you're not, you'll never finish it. It took me so many years to finish it. I bought Persona 5 at launch. I just now beat it now, and it was in the vein of Persona 5 Royale. So it's like, now I'm trying to beat Persona 5 Strikers as I speak, because that's a continuation, and I like Strikers a bit better. I'm going to tell you right now, Strikers is more fast-paced, it's more my style of game, it's more interesting to me because they talk, but they don't talk that much. Actually, they kind of still do talk a lot. I've had to skip some things once I got the gist of what was going on and what we were doing next. I try not to leave myself too in the dark, but Persona 5 Royale, loads and loads of text. Persona 5, Strikers, still some text, but not as much, but the gameplay is real-time combat, more action-packed, and, yes. So anyway, that concludes my review for Persona 5 Royale. And most of all of you guys should have played it already. It's been out for many, many years. It's not new by any stretch of the imagination. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if they're going to give us a Persona 6 anytime soon. Those games take a long time to make with everything in it that goes on. I'd much rather see a Shin Megami Tensei 6 rather than rather than a Persona 6 though. I really hope that they do a Shin Megami Tensei 6 first. That would be amazing, because Shin Megami Tensei 5 was awesome. Anyway, that concludes this video. Supreme Me out. Like and subscribe.